Wow, Lubie, I'm happy that you took this into consideration because I was thinking you would be the hardest guy to move off of this mark. We discussed this briefly yesterday. I'm looking at my alarm clock every morning and thinking, why is this set for 5:30? This is the age of streaming. We're just clinging to an old concept here about morning drive radio that is no longer relevant. People don't even go to work anymore. Now, that was one of the few, if you can take positives away from the COVID-19 period of time, that was one thing, this change, transformation, where there wasn't so much pressure on you to get up in the morning, go flying out of the house, get immersed into just hideous traffic, get all nerved out about driving to work, and by the time you get there, you're a schwitzing, psychotic mess. And then right away, the boss starts screaming at you about something you didn't finish up correctly yesterday, and you just have a miserable day. Here you have a cup of coffee, you pet the dog, maybe even take it for a walk like you were doing, and you say, wow, life is good.
The time!
Wake up with Defo, joined by Lubie. Welcome to the Defo Show.
All right. Good to be with you here on a Degenerate Friday. Jeff DeForest, Michael Lubitz, and happy to have you along for the ride. We will get some handicapping steam later on in the program, as we'll have the professor joining us with some college football picks, and, of course, another edition of the Degenerate Friday Big Board with the professor. The Greek is also going to join us here on the program, and then later on today, Mark Lawrence will be with us on our NoFilter.net program, which should get underway about 3:15, 3:30 this afternoon. And we'll have some more selections from the professor and Mark Lawrence on college and pro football on a show called License to Steal, which is resurrected from the grave today after about a 3-week hiatus. Actually, none of those License to Steal shows have come off the way that we would have liked them to.
No, they haven't.
We've had nothing but fucking problems, is what we're trying to say. But they'll straighten themselves out, and I think we're on our way, Lubie. We're going to get this thing going today, and that should be a lot of fun. So we'll have that for you later on. So a lot of selections coming up on the program today. I saw, and naturally I followed this grid in the New York Post here. They have 9 handicappers. Interesting. It shows you how difficult this can be. 9 handicappers, 3 at this point of the season. We are now, 3 games into the season. So we're only 3 weeks into the NFL season. There are 3 of the 9 are above 500, with the largest margin above 500 being a handicapper that goes by Loftus, Drew Loftus, 25 and 21 with 2 pushes. Everybody's got the 2 pushes, naturally, because they're all selecting the same games. 25 and 21. Then you have 2 other guys above 500. You have 1, 2, 3, 4 at 500 and 3 beneath 500. So what does that tell you? Everybody loses to the juice in the end. Now, I usually look at this to see if there's any unanimity among the selections that are made, because you would have to think that obviously would stand out as somewhat of a strong pick, no? And the only place that I see that where all 9 handicappers are on the same side is with the 49ers laying 14 at home against the Arizona Cardinals, who everybody assumed was tanking until they beat the Cowboys last week.
Yeah.
And they also had the Giants on the ropes, even though the Giants don't look like much this year. It's interesting, as great, as wonderful, as stupendous, as spectacular, as absolutely euphoric as this year has been in terms of South Florida sports. What a disaster across the board for everything that goes on in New York City. I mean, that's all they're doing is analyzing. It really is like reading an epitaph. It's the dissection of a body in the morgue there. We're talking about an autopsy they're doing on all of these teams. As the Mets were horrible this year, playing for nothing. Ira, the Met fan, pointed out that they had incentive to lose last night, even though the game was very much like
the game. What the fuck happened with that game?
College transcript time. It was an incomplete, my friend. So it was suspended where it is. What happened was, if you weren't following this, and I didn't see a good portion of the game because for some reason, does DirecTV not carry Bally Sports Florida?
I think you're in the same boat as me now. I don't know if any of them outside of like Comcast carry it. because Mayo can't watch it. I can't watch it. Like,
I get it at home, and I went out to a friend's birthday party. Was actually being held where the Mustang was last night at Fishtails on 33rd Street, and the lovely Felice had her birthday party. Turned 61. Didn't look it. Looked like I would have guessed maybe mid 40s tops. That's always a good sign, isn't it? And the other people that were at the table, I don't know what they're doing there. They're obviously eating very healthily because all of these people looked radically below the age that they were professing to have. You would have never guessed any of these people's ages. Wouldn't have even
nice.
been close. But which is nice to see. They all are out there active, play tennis. They do all the other stuff, hiking and all of this health stuff. But the food looked delicious, by the way, at Fishtails. I know Mayo hasn't been there yet. His tendency would be to pan it because it was a suggestion that either you or I made. But I think he really. I don't know. I don't know if I want to bring him in there because it'll be a come down when he started criticizing something for the salt content or whatever.
I enjoy their food. It feels like a bar.
It's great, yeah.
Low key, but they do a really good job. We used to go there every week. I've always enjoyed their food.
And if anything, they've only gotten better over time. I mean,
Nice.
they really, I mean, the presentation was fantastic. The food looked great. I wasn't dining there because I'd already eaten enough, or what I consider to be enough for the day. Although I did come back after having a couple of drinks and went back and heated up in the air fryer a couple of those chicken wings from Gilbert's. Man,
Really good.
what a taste explosion that was. That was absolutely fantastic. And then we had to put up with Mayo eating a raisin with chopsticks and then describing it. Oh, well, this is a delicious raisin.
That's
Okay,
the problem. I don't mind these diets because we've figured out how to navigate.
but leave us out of it. Yeah.
Food. No, we still get to eat good food and whatever.
Yeah.
I need him to live, so it's good that he's eating healthier, supposedly. But my problem is he spends the whole time talking about it. So it's
While
like,
eating it, yeah, and then there's nothing else on the show. It's just like,
that's all he talks
okay,
about.
you can describe a raisin. That's great. I mean, is this a test for you to get the food job again at the Sun Sentinel?
So be on the diet and shut the fuck up about it.
Yeah, just shut the fuck up. Exactly. And then you say something about it, like, well, I'm not the one that's talking.
You're incessantly
Like you
talking
got a
about it.
mouthful of like carrots. Unbelievable.
And then he goes out to a dinner and sends us pictures all night.
Send us pictures of like 100 entrees that he had.
You spend an hour talking about your diet to then go eat like crap at night.
Well, I don't know if I can have that barbecue sauce. I was going to dip this chicken finger in there, but does it have a high sugar? And he's asking the poor woman that runs the restaurant there, the lovely Beth. Is that a high sugar content in that barbecue sauce? Maybe I ought to opt for something more dietetic.
Thank
You're
you.
ready to shove it up his ass. You really are. I mean, I got to that point yesterday. I hope it doesn't go there again today.
I don't know why he does that. Like, be healthier. Don't be healthier. Leave us out of it. Like, okay.
Leave us out of it. You think you're at a Weight Watchers meeting. You really do. Oh, I have to confess, I had an Oreo cookie. Okay, lady. Try to cut that out. I mean, what do you want us to say?
Oh my
It's
God.
not interesting to the rest of the people. It just isn't. Just do it. Either just do it. Go Nike on it. Just do it.
It's just Nike.
And then, for the rest of us, just do your job, man. Talk about some of the other stuff that's there. All right, so the Cardinals, unanimity on this, Lubie. How are you feeling about that? 14, I mentioned this to somebody in Atlantic City, and they were asking me about a game, and, it's the Godfather. And he says, what do you think? I think it would involve the Giants. They must have been playing, or were they playing like last Thursday night, the Giants?
I think so. Yeah, the
New York Giants.
and they look like crap.
So he asked me what I thought about that game, and I said, well, I really don't like, laying double digits in NFL games. Usually I'd be inclined to take the points. I go Mark Lawrence on that. You're getting 10 points plus in a National Football League game. Most of the margins are smaller than that.
Yeah, the Niners actually handled them. The Niners played and beat them 30-12.
Yeah. Everybody likes the Cardinals in that game. Is there something I missed there? Are the Cardinals being underestimated? Are they not tanking? Do they have better quarterback play than people had anticipated? What the hell happened there?
They beat the Cowboys, and the Cowboys up until that point had looked really good, and they sort of beat them decisively. Which
does everybody throw in a stinker? I mean, for the most part, if you look at the Dolphins, look, they could just as easily be 2-1, and if they were, would that diminish anybody's opinion about them? Had they lost that game to the Los Angeles Chargers on the opening week, they win it by a couple of points. It was one of those games where you looked at it and said, whoever has the ball last is probably going to win. The cliche applied, and I don't know. Is that essentially what happened? Did the Dolphins have the ball last and held on for victory, or what was Los Angeles pressing at the end? I don't recall all of the details of the end game there. But Finns came away with that victory. Otherwise, they're 2-1. I don't know. Would they be held in such high regard if they weren't among the only three teams in the NFL right now undefeated? So it shows you the level of play and parity that would lead you to believe that getting double-digit points is probably a favorable situation. So we'll see. I don't know that I have enough faith in the Cardinals to go ahead and take the 14 points, but that would be a temptation. Everybody in the New York Post handicapping grid here has them on top. Many people picking the Commanders against the Eagles, getting 8.5. I'm trying to find the Mark Lawrence games that would stick out. You have the oddball early morning game on Sunday with Jaguars and Falcons playing in London. That seems to be a source of even division. And, of course, the key game for us is the Buffalo Bills and the Miami Dolphins. And the predominant number of handicappers here have the Buffalo Bills covering the 2.5-point spread. They're only laying 2.5 at home against the Dolphins. Looked like shit in week number 1, the Buffalo Bills, and you thought, well, there it is. They're falling apart. But so much on the table in this game for an early season ball game. You're either going to be the Miami Dolphins up 2 games in the AFC East with little threat coming that the Patriots and or the Jets are going to be making any kind of a move towards the top of the division. So it seems like the race is boiling down to 2 teams. And think about the leg up that you get if you're up 2 games after 4 are being played, and with a head-to-head victory on the road against the Buffalo Bills and a chance to beat them again at home. You put yourself in a commanding position in the AFC East. The Dolphins do if they win this game. Now, if the Bills win the game, which many people are anticipating, including the line makers, making them 2.5-point favorites, prohibitive. I mean, they're sort of giving the Dolphins a huge dose of respect here. Because normally, I mean, the theory goes that you automatically account for 3 points in making the line for the home field. So they're getting a little under the normal consideration for home field advantage, the Buffalo Bills. The Dolphins look like they could score on anybody all day long. They didn't have that many points in the game against the Patriots, but it was one of those games where it never really seemed like they were threatened. I know it boiled down to kind of a goofy play at the end there on that short yardage play that the lateral went to the lineman and looked like he made the first down. But they called it back in review, and the Dolphins ended up holding on very easily there against the Patriots. But, Patriots could have made a game of it at that point.
Oh, yeah.
Had they gotten that first down, it was possible they could have even come out with a victory, which is kind of weird. So 2 very close road games for the Dolphins. They're on the road for the 3rd time in 4 weeks. They've been razor sharp. Are they due for a little bit of a letdown? I don't know. Are they going to be even more on target in this game? The Buffalo Bills have beaten the shit out of the Dolphins in recent meetings. Even though some of the games were close, but an overall one-loss record.
Yeah. Until last year, I think the Dolphins played them really well last year.
They played them well, but they lost the last 2 games last year by a couple of points. Of course, the last one was kind of a fluke with Skylar Thompson that they were even in that game in the postseason. But prior to that, they lost a 2-point decision to the Buffalo Bills. And I think I was tracking it earlier this week. It was like 8 out of the last 11, I think.
Before last year was a disaster.
Yeah.
I think it was like the whole Sean McDermott era. They would just annihilate the Dolphins. It wasn't even. It was like I wouldn't even watch the games. It'd be like, oh, it's the fucking Bills.
Yeah. Well, it seems to be a different Dolphin team, and in a sense that I mean the strongest thing that's happened is that what we thought the offensive line play was going to be abysmal at best. Mm-hmm. And Tua Tagovailoa, his biggest problem was going to be not throwing passes to Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, but peeling himself off the mat.
Yep.
Our all Monday thing. Every Monday, we were speaking directly to Tua when we had our peel yourself off the mat Mondays. But that hasn't been the case at all. I mean, if anything, has Tua really been overwhelmingly pressured at any portion of any game? I want to say no. I haven't seen him really face any kind of pass rush adversity.
I think literally statistically, he's been sacked once in 3 games, and I think he's been hurried like 6. You know, guys, even when they don't get hurried all game. It's the NFL. I think he's been hurried like 6 times. Like he's not even getting pressured. It's
Nothing.
insane. I mean, it might be a combination of him and the line where if you notice, he's not holding on to it. He's not doing all that fakakta crap where he would like linger and you go, get rid of it, Tua.
Yes.
Like he's not doing that. He's getting rid of it so quickly that it's saving the line's ass.
But very decisive so far.
You know, the line isn't getting him hit in 2 seconds. So that's a win.
Oh, yeah. Do you want to go out on a limb here since it's a Degenerate Friday? What would you do with the Dolphins and the Bills? A very, very testy situation in terms of trying to make a pick here. I'm thinking the Bills probably win this game.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know why. I believe that, they got it together. They look so horrible. That was the game most people saw. In fact, of the Bills' 3 games so far, the majority of what we saw was that opening game when they were against the Jets, of course, on a Monday Night Football game. Everybody was tuned in. The entire world was tuned in to see what Aaron Rodgers would do. And I think the most unlikely thing, even more unlikely than Aaron Rodgers being knocked out for the season on the very first series, was that subsequent to that, the Bills would go on to lose that game.
With Zach Wilson.
With Zach Wilson at quarterback. He didn't do much. In that game, at least, he wasn't detrimental.
Yep.
To what the Jets were doing offensively. And it wasn't like the offense was running overwhelmingly smoothly, but nonetheless, he wasn't a detriment, as he has been apparently in the last couple of games, where people are saying it's insane. This blind faith that everybody had in Zach Wilson was highly misguided. And so far, the evidence is that appears to be the case. Many people are calling for a change there at quarterback. And on the back page of the Post today, Zach Wilson is almost like a masked wrestler, pleading for mercy here and saying, hey, don't give up on me just yet. I think Zach, unfortunately, and the guy seems like he'd be all right. See, not a kid that you could root for. Wouldn't it be great if he was good? That's the funny thing. Everybody thinks that you're going to be overwhelmingly negative about this, but because we like dumping on a player, I think it would be a better story if he was good. Wouldn't it, Lubie? I know you're not a Jet fan, and I don't mean to imply that I still have ties to the Jets. I don't care. I hate to see a guy just ridiculed like this and pummeled and harpooned. And you're thinking he's still a relatively young player. Is it impossible for him to get it together? No, but are we looking at Rich Gannon here maybe? I don't know. Just later in his career, does he go on to actually be like a salvageable quarterback and maybe even impactful enough to help a team win some games? I don't know, but it's a shame to see the way this guy's getting dumped on. But his play so far has done nothing to sway the opinion of many, and many that had that opinion as Aaron Rodgers went down, that the Jets are fucked.
Nah, they're fucked. He's horrendous.
I think even Robert Saleh knows it. Doesn't he seem resigned to this idea? Well,
yes. He couldn't get out. They asked him. So the Zach Wilson, you're the guy going forward. You have faith in Zach Wilson, and he literally did hamana for 2 minutes, and finally got to. He gives us the best chance to win, and he said it just like.
Oh, that's
he didn't really believe it at all. It was like, Jesus, Robert.
So like when a 50-year-old Hoyt Wilhelm was going out to the mound to start, or Charlie Huff, and the
exactly.
manager would say, well, old Charlie gives us the best chance to win. He's a real professional there. Like, yeah, but he can't break an egg with his fastball. What are you talking about? Well, Huff, in his case, and Wilhelm were throwing knucklers, but they lasted, maybe a little bit past their relative usefulness. So big slate of NFL football on tap. College football, any games that stand out to you, Lubie? All of the Florida teams, I believe we saw Jim Sarney post this somewhere. Might have been in the Sarney Scrolls, which is excellent if you're looking for guidance on TV viewing and inside information on a lot of different things. But I think all of the Florida schools are on a bye week this week.
Florida. I'm excited. Florida plays Kentucky. They finally play another team that should kick their ass. But the Canes and the Knowles are on a bye week.
I believe FAU and FIU are also on byes.
Right.
And maybe like South Florida also. Is that possible?
FAU, FIU, FSU.
Bethune-Cookman playing? FAMU?
I don't know about UCF or USF.
I want to say that almost all of them are on a bye.
UCF does play. They play Baylor, since we're going down this.
All right.
This path for some reason. And USF plays Navy. So
okay, so I was wrong about that.
and our local schools are off this week.
All off. All right. All right. So, what stands out to you? You're looking at this Florida Kentucky game.
Well, what stands out is I'm not done with the beat the shit out of Prime and his Colorado team fest.
Oh yes.
Week 2 of that is this week, as it's the big prime time 12 p.m. game on the Big Ten Fox afternoon delights or whatever the fuck they call it.
Yes.
Your USC Trojans head to Boulder.
Colorado, yeah. I mean, that ought to be interesting, actually.
Another week of that. I can't wait. I'm fucking.
USC, you would have to think offensively. What would you say that they probably are better than Oregon?
Mm-hmm.
Offensively. Now, defensively, we know that USC just flat out stinks.
Yes.
They are horrendous defensively. They were last year. I mean, that was an embarrassment. What was that? The USC UCLA game when they gave up like 100 points?
I think so.
Last year. I was watching that with some interest, and it was amazing to me that USC's defense could be that bad.
Yeah, it's rough.
I don't know. I mean, would you not, if you're Lincoln Riley, would you not have addressed that somewhat? I mean, either via the transfer portal or somehow trying to find something to shore up that completely porous defense.
They brought in some transfers. It's supposed to be better this year, the defense, but they still.
Where's Ronnie Lott when you need him?
Still have Grinch as DC, and he sucks.
Jeff Fisher and Ronnie Lott back there.
Exactly. There you go.
That'd be great. When I was covering USC football, they were just outrageous on both sides of the ball, although much more well known for their offensive prowess and especially the running game with the student body right and student body left. And it was fun to watch. It really was. It was entertaining. This offense is wildly entertaining, but we'll see what happens. I think they come away with the win. I don't know how handily it'll be accomplished. 21 and a hook. Would you lay 3 touchdowns? USC against Colorado, Lubie. 3+ touchdowns.
Oh yeah, USC is going to throttle them. I think Colorado will score a little more this week than they did last week. I think because of USC's defense, but USC's offense, I think it's going to be. I'm put it this way. I'm excited to watch that game, and I hate Colorado, so it ain't for Colorado.
Yeah. See, I wouldn't mind if the Deion story is fine with me. I think it's great.
I hate it.
It took a big dive off the cliff there, Acapulco Cliffs, last week when Oregon exposed them for the fact that maybe they're not so good. But we'll see a little bit more this week. I'm glad you're part of the crowd that's rooting for a spanking every week.
Yes.
I don't root against Deion Sanders like you do. I think it's an interesting story from a lot of different aspects. I just don't know that they have the prowess to be in that game against the University of Southern California. Well, we shall see. All right, many other stories to explore, but we want to get to the Greek here. He's joining us in just a few moments here on the show. We'll get some selections on, I don't know if he's going college, pro, or both.
He does all of it.
And then the professor's going to join us after that. He'll have a big board. And, of course, the professor, in my opinion, one of the real experts when it comes to college football. He may not win every game. And he got off to kind of a slow start this year, at least in his selections on the show. And you were saying that he was getting touched up a little bit early in the season, where we think that because of his knowledge of college football, he would have a distinct advantage. But it doesn't. This is the thing about gambling, right? And the professor would be the first to say this. In fact, it's his motto, and that is it's called gambling, not winning.
Yeah, and he and the Greek make sure to tell me that every time I'm bitter. And whenever I get in there, they're like, well, it's gambling, you idiot. It's not winning. I'm like, thank you.
There's no guarantee. There's no level of certainty in this game. All right, we're going to come back with the Greek and the professor in just a moment here on the Defo Show. Jeff DeForest, Mike Lubie, Lubitz with you. And happy to have you along for the ride on a Degenerate Friday that continues in a moment. Now that.
The time.
8:26. Ponies in Style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine food served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in style, and you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in Plantation, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers, Raw Bar and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Are you looking to buy your first home? Have you been turned down for a loan? Do you need to refinance or get money out of your home? Call Michael Kodsey, CEO of Choice Mortgage. He's been helping the South Florida community get mortgages for 30 years.
Hi, this is Michael Kodsey, CEO of Choice Mortgage. We have the most competitive fixed rates in the market. Call me 24/7, 561-441-2730. And remember, I don't just work banking hours. To make the right choice for your home, call Choice Mortgage today.
I like when the guys on the CBS pregame show, like Boomer and all of the crew there, they're picking games without the point spread. And then they're unanimously, on the side of the favorite.
Picking games without a point spread is like telling somebody that you banged the girl last night and she was a hooker. I mean, that's the way I look at it.
Got home last night, yeah.
We now return to the Defo Show.
All right, welcome back to the show, a Degenerate Friday. Just getting rolling here. Our new start time of 8 o'clock. I hope that's agreeable for everybody. And it turned out it was agreeable for this gentleman who joins us right now. We're always happy to have him on board because usually he's already taken several business meetings by the time we roll around at 8 o'clock. So it's tough to catch this guy in the morning. We welcome the Greek to the program. Greek, good to have you on again. Thanks so much for joining us, my friend.
Oh, always a pleasure to be on with you guys. I've never seen a guy in my life go to Jersey as much as you. Most people are trying to get out of Jersey.
Yeah. I love it there, man. Atlantic City is my place. I think they can bury me right under the boardwalk there, and it's happened several times in my many trips there.
My God, I can't believe it.
You would love it, though, Greek. You know what? They have in Vegas, the sports books are kind of, large and, very grandiose, big screens. And that's wonderful. I remember a friend of mine a long time ago telling me, a guy named Alan Bork, may he rest in peace. And he said, have you been to Vegas? And this was when simulcasting, the advent of simulcasting first came about, talking about racing, where you could bet other tracks from one location. And it was first relatively new in Vegas. And he told me, you're going to go out to Las Vegas and you're going to feel like you died and went to heaven when you experience this. Yeah. And he was pretty much close to the truth. But
times I left Vegas, I wish I was
dead. I have been dead there. I think I've been pronounced dead a couple of times, dead on arrival. But I
tried to blindfold the pilot on the way home. I'm like, come on, you want to gamble? Let's really gamble.
Yeah, take a shot on that. But I like kind of the setup of the sports books. It's a lot of fun watching games in the relatively more cozy sportsbook arrangements that you have in Atlantic City. It really does provide you with almost a better atmosphere than being at the game itself, because you don't have to schlep there and go through all of the machinations that are involved in going to a stadium there. So really, really very entertaining. I think you would enjoy it, Greek. Are you a fan of good Italian food? You're not a big eater, but are you a fan of good Italian food?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I love that, but I mean, I don't know. Atlantic City never really struck me as anything but a mistake. It's the kind of casinos where there's granite pyramids, but only the first 8 feet are granite. The other 8 are all hollow. If you like it, God bless you. I mean, anything you like. I mean, to be Vegas, I'm hoping that we get it down here. It's so much controversy now with all the sports betting down here.
Yeah, what are you hearing?
It's crazy.
What happened, Green?
Things from all over the place. What are you?
You've been on top of this.
Inside of this, what are you hearing?
It's in the Supreme Court now. I mean, it got knocked down, then they appealed it. It's going back and forth. So the Supreme Court could either choose to hear it, and if they do, they have to make a decision, or the Supreme Court could say within the next year, we don't even want to hear this, and then Hard Rock has the ability right now to open up sports betting in the state of Florida.
Okay.
They're just not turning it on because they keep saying, like, we don't want to turn it on and shut it off.
Mm.
So, and also there are some people who feel if they turn it on, then people will think, maybe the Supreme Court might look at it as arrogant, like you're doing it, without even knowing the final result. But if the Supreme Court decides we're not going to look at this, then they'll turn it on. And we could get a ruling on it today. We can get a ruling on it in a year.
Oh, Jesus.
That's the problem.
Oh, God.
Typical Florida. When it comes to anything that represents a sign of progress or joining up with the rest of the world. Because people were having a ball, Greek. That's another thing you would like about Atlantic City. I mean, people are just sending it in right and left on virtually everything. And it makes for a much more entertaining way to watch a game with a crowd when all of a sudden out of nowhere in a game that's 31-0, you hear a guy, I mean, with a guttural scream that would make you think that, he just found out that his family had been wiped out, screaming, no! You're thinking, which screen is this guy watching here? And it turns out that Colorado put 6 points on the board and ruined his prop bet that they were going to get shut out. All right, how have you been faring so far in the football season? Are you having any luck?
Good and bad. Not really. More good than bad, but it's been the NFL's been a little weird. Obviously, last week, Sunday at 4 o'clock when Dallas lost, you thought the economy was going to fall off because everybody's in Dallas, laying to 12. I think this week the world's going to be on the Dolphins. I just do. I think everybody, and when a team scores over 45, usually the next week they don't score as much. It's just a trend. Same thing in baseball. Team scores 10 runs, the next night they score 2. Basketball, team scores 137, next night they score 90. So I don't know. That game, I think the world's going to be on the Dolphins getting 2. But, I want to see Miami do well. I like them, but I don't know. It's a little fugazi. Last night's game, another one of those games, division games. Detroit shows up. Detroit got a good team. They got some good weapons, and they got a good pass rush, and they tuned them. So we'll end up seeing. But I think Colorado, USC, I would bet the over 73. But USC's defense is terrible. They can't stop a news. Yes. So I think Colorado's going to score this week. They didn't last week. But I think they will. Kentucky, I think, beats the Gators home. Georgia, first time on the road, lane 14 to Auburn. I don't know. I think Georgia blows them out. Auburn's not good. Those are a couple of games I'm looking at. But, I think as far as the season goes, there's a couple trends, good and bad, couple teams that are going to be good or bad. I mean, obviously the Vikings are 0-3. You look at the Bears, they're terrible. The Jets are got a million problems. They're better off with a Kardashian quartering than the kid. Joe Willie goes out and crushes them in the Jets. What did you think of that? I was a little surprised.
You know what? I think things are starting to unravel a little bit. I love Joe Namath, and we idolized him when he was playing for the Jets. It was great. I was very lucky during the heyday of Namath's prowess and the Jet teams that they had there. I was working at Shea, so I saw all of the home games very close up and agonized along with everybody else with every interception against the Denver Broncos that day threw 6 picks. But, we loved him. But lately, when he was on, and I don't know if we talked about this, and I'm not sure, I mean, you being in especially Palm Beach and Boca area predominantly, Greek, should be a huge expert at a game that my buddy Jersey Kyle and I like to play, and that is piece or no piece, whether or not a guy is wearing a hairpiece or not. I think we might have discussed this on the show. And did it look like Joe Willie was wearing some kind of a piece when he was on ESPN Game Day? We haven't been able to figure that out. It was a weird-looking, scraggly hair thing, and it was stick. What's that?
I don't know. I didn't notice it. I just noticed that his comments really, didn't go over well with a lot of people with the Jets and Zach Wilson. I mean, again, I don't think he should have been picked from day one, but he did. But the kid's under a lot of scrutiny. And at some point, as a fan or anybody else, you look at it, you just like, leave the kid alone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's enough already.
He's what it is.
He's paper mache out there. He really is. I blame the Jets, for this situation because they had a problem with the offensive line and they should have fixed it later. During the season. They didn't. Rodgers, even in the preseason game, ran for his life.
Yes.
I mean, that wasn't good. and then he gets hurt in the third play. I don't get it. Woody Johnson's got more money than God. He's got a necklace around his neck, $3 million. Go get some offensive linemen.
Well, that's a problem for a lot of clubs. There.
I don't know. Yeah, but I don't know the Jets in general that they invested everything they had in Rodgers. It's like a poker game. You're all in. He gets hurt, and it's so bad that the season's done in September.
Yep.
Yes.
I mean, it's over.
So somebody pointed this out to me in Atlantic City, and I thought it was a very relevant and significant point, and that is when Rodgers went down. I mean, think about the money that was burnt from all the people that invested in the Jets, thinking now that they have Aaron Rodgers, they're going to go over whatever total they had for him. They're going to win the division. They're going to be, the AFC champion. They're going to win the Super Bowl. There was a lot of futuristic type wagering made on the New York Jets based on Aaron Rodgers being there. And 3 plays in, that money is shot in the shredder.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Oh, the millions. I mean, the Jets were 15-1. When I was telling my friends, I was with Rodgers, and I thought that was very much an inflated line. But you know the game, so does Lubie. The public dictates it.
Yep.
And the more the people kept coming up to the window, just like the track, and keep pounding it, Vegas looks at it at some point and goes, we got to lower it. We got to lower it. Yep. Like the Jets are playing Sunday night, right?
Yes.
At what point would you bet the Jets? Would you bet the Jets with 23?
I would lay out of that. I mean, if you think about it, you're talking about their offensive line woes. One of the big problems they've had is this guy, Mekhi Becton, that they drafted in the first round a couple of years ago. And for like one game, it looked like it was really a great move. And then the guy's had nothing but injury problems and obviously problems catching on to what he needs to do. So they move him to right tackle, which was already a suspect move. And he was going to start at right tackle, and now he's their left tackle. So, here's somebody that you didn't even want on the roster, and he's your starting left tackle.
I know, but Sunday night I call you up and I say, look, I'll put up $1,000. Would you take the Jets? 23. Getting 23.
No.
You got to think about it.
I wouldn't.
Right?
23? Yeah.
I wouldn't.
Maybe 23. Their defense isn't horrible.
The Chiefs are good, and
and unless Taylor Swift's cornering for the Chiefs, they blow them out.
By the way, Joe Willie, he would be more popular than he is after making these statements about Zach Wilson and continuing to perpetuate that and persist in doing it because he's not backing down when challenged by virtually everybody, Joe Willie. Even Aaron Rodgers is making comments about it now, but you would think that Aaron Rodgers would just ignore it and say it was, the ramblings of an old man, but he would be more popular if he tried to plan another one on Susie Colbert, right?
Yeah, again, that was a bad night. I like Joe Willie, I do.
I'm a big fan still.
Yeah. I'm surprised by his comments because again, that negativity is not helping. If you really want the Jets to do well, and I think he does, and he knows the magnitude of his voice, coming out there and saying the GM should be fired, and then everybody gives the coach a hard time. These guys last night, I was talking to them. I go, do you really think the coach could say after the GM picked him that, no, the kid sucks, we want to get rid of him? Of course they want to get rid of him. That's why they went for Rodgers.
Yes.
I mean, people, I love sports fans who don't know jack. They're like management I work with. They don't know anything. They really don't. I mean, it cracks me up, the things that they come up, and I look at them and I looked at this kid last night, he was arguing with me, I said, he can't say that, the coach. He's got to say, Zach's our man.
I mean,
tomorrow, if some quarterback, he's going to be like, we didn't want Zach.
I mean, did you watch Saleh's response? I mean, he sort of did say, it took him 3 minutes to say, he gives us the best chance to win. And he said it just like that, with no emotion. He fumbled around for 3 minutes and then said, yes, Zach gives us the best. I mean, that's like the closest thing to a coach saying, yeah, our recruiting class sucked. like that's like a coach.
The Jets draft last year was fantastic. I mean, they got the running back, they got Wilson, they got Sauce, they got a great thing. They didn't pick good with Zach Wilson. When he came out of BYU, I didn't think he was a first rounder at all. And I thought BYU in that conference was weak, and I didn't think he was going to adjust to the NFL. I just didn't. But I mean, scouts make mistakes. Look at the 49ers. They got a quarterback that when he walks into the stadium, people think he works at Apple. He looks like he's and the kid's great. So scouts do make mistakes. I mean, obviously you could see that. I mean, look at Brady. You can go on and on with people, but I think the Jets right now, they just have so many problems. And they can't get a quarterback. They try to call guys, and they're like, I don't want to come there. Who wants to come there and get beat up?
Colin Kaepernick was looking for a job.
The one guy.
Supposedly, Matt Ryan called the Jets and said he's willing to make a comeback. And I believe Joe
Matt Ryan
Kapp
said no.
is going to come back from the grave.
Matt Ryan said no. Yeah, Matt Ryan said no.
Oh, they called him? Okay. I had that story backwards.
Yeah, they called him Kaepernick. You know what? I haven't seen Kaepernick play in years. I mean, again,
It's been like
who the
7
hell
years.
knows who's better or worse? But I don't know.
Kaepernick, I mean, when was he in the league? In the 90s? Kaepernick
It was like
3-4 years
2006.
broke in with Boomer Esiason, this guy. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
Kaepernick.
it's
That's
a
going to be your
shame that
solution.
The NFL was so excited about the Jets and Giants. You know,
Yes.
not that the NFL needs it, but it helps. And both teams are terrible.
Dead flat. I mean, dead in the water.
Yeah.
By the way, the Greek last week.
Remember,
What's that?
go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, last week you killed it, man. 4-1-1 on the show, 3-0 in the NFL. So you are having astonishing results so far this year. That's great. And a lot of people are struggling with the NFL.
You know, it's great with games. It's so unbelievable. When you give a guy a game and it wins, he doesn't say anything. When it loses, your phone blows up.
You fucking bozo, lose my number.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
I can't believe it. Blah, blah, blah. There was a buddy of mine, right? So he had a prop bet. Listen to this prop bet. He calls me up. He's in Vegas last Saturday. He bets $1,000 on Oregon scoring 50. 7-1.
Okay. Oh,
They
no. They didn't score
35 first half.
Oh, no.
Yes.
So he sends me a picture at halftime at Caesars with a cigar.
Oh, no.
They've been on that train.
Oh,
The game ended. I went, choo choo. They don't play halftime scores, Flick.
Oh, no.
It's Alex Freed, right?
That's,
Listen, Alex, they don't pay off at halftime.
that sucks.
I believe him.
It's a typical gambler, though. Typical guy. Every gambler, when they're winning, they should have bet more. Oh, I should have bet more. They should just be happy they won. And every guy, when I knew it. You didn't know anything. What the hell did you know? You didn't know anything. I love it. Go to bed. You get.
I was with many people. Yeah, I was going to say I was with many people that were sweating out that Ohio State Notre Dame game. And if you think about what it boiled down to, and we talked about it earlier this week, they put a second back on the clock. And had they not done that, I believe Notre Dame would have gotten the cover, getting 3 points, because I don't think even.
Point.
We were all thinking they would just come out and take a knee after lining up for what would be a 2-point conversion, because why risk getting a kick blocked and run back for the 2 points the other way when you're leading by 2 when you don't have to?
Yeah, if there's that's the thing. If there's a second, then there will be a kickoff. If there's no time, then it doesn't matter if time goes or doesn't go. That's true. Like there's no reason.
That coach sucked last week for Notre Dame. He lost that game. First half, they were getting 2, and 2 times he goes for it on 4th down, bad calls. And then at the end of the game, he has 10 guys on the field.
Twice.
I mean, that's like having a 2-on-1 and you forget to invite the other person. 10 guys on the field. How do you
That's ugliness.
on the field? Are you kidding me? I mean, like that.
Back-to-back plays. Crazy.
There was 2 plays they had 10
my
guys.
God. It's terrible.
Oh my
I mean,
God.
it's just a bad call. I mean, Lou Holtz during the week, he's got to pep up Penn State. That game sucked because you got screwed on the last. My buddy had huge money on Notre Dame first half and the final. I felt so bad because he got screwed both times. He got screwed at halftime, the last play of the game.
Yes.
And then he gets screwed at the end of the game.
No, that was an ugly finish. I mean,
but at the end of the game, Notre Dame started passing like the Atlanta Falcons did against the Patriots. Run the friggin' ball. Let the clock tick off.
Exactly.
I mean,
it was insane.
Unreal.
And they made some great stops there, improbable stops that kept you alive in this game to, cash on Notre Dame. And the professor had told us, he had sent me privately that he had a slight lean towards the under, which I was looking at that. What was that, like 0-0 around nearing the end of the half? And
50-something, I think, was the
and you thought, holy shit, was this guy on the money on that? But
that was good.
I thought Notre Dame outplayed him, for the majority of the game. If it was a boxing scorecard, you would have given Notre Dame the win.
Yep.
No, it was bad coaching. Bad coaching on his part at the end of the game and bad clock management. And then they had 4th and 1 at the 20 in the first quarter. They drive down, take the 3 points.
Yes.
You see the game is going to be like that. And he goes and he misses it. Then he went again and he missed it. Get the points. Get the points when you're in a game like that. It was a very close game. You're playing Ohio State. That was Notre Dame's season. They're done. They're not going to make the playoff now.
Yeah, that was tough. And Marcus Freeman, I was starting to think that this guy had it together. You know, early in the season last year, people were questioning and very suspicious about whether this hire was going to work out. And then he got the team straightened out. And to lose a game like that, you're right, Greek. If a game could boil down to a coaching, lack of, ability to control a situation, or just stupidity in terms of leaving points on the field, as they say. Marcus Freeman, it was all on him in that particular ballgame. All right, Greek, what do you got going this weekend? Are you making any public appearances? You're going to be at the track, smoking cigars with the boys, watching NFL, or what?
I got dinner tonight with a friend. It's her birthday. Got a bang round tomorrow. I got a couple of votes. Watch Duke Notre Dame Saturday night. I think there's going to be some points in that. Duke, first time ever, game day is there.
Yep.
So that's a big thing, and everybody's going to bet Notre Dame. The one trend that I see is a lot of times when there's over 82% of money on one side, go the other way.
Yep.
The team covers.
And let me ask you a question.
NFL, you think?
No, is there a prop bet on Coach K being on game day?
No, Bobby Hurley, maybe, but not Coach K.
They're going to wheel out Bobby Hurley. Nice.
I'm not going to wheel him out.
He walks.
He's not going to wheel him out. But again, did you believe that? How about this prop bet last year? Game day going to Colorado and going to Duke. Who would have thought those two?
Oh, my God.
Right?
Yeah, that was kind of like when the Jets and the Bengals sucked a few years ago, and they both won outright while getting double-digit points. And you're thinking, whoever made that parlay on the money line, walked away feeling like they just hit the Powerball. But all right, Greek, we love you, man. Thanks so much. You're on fire. 4-1-1 last week, 3-0 NFL. The picks again. Can you capsulize them quickly for us, or you had 3 games?
Over in the Colorado game. Okay, Kentucky college football.
Okay.
They're getting 1 or 2, or given 1 or 2. Excuse me. I think they beat the Gators. They got a good team. And then we're going to go Duke and Notre Dame over. You got to check out what the over is now.
Okay. Sounds good, my friend. Excellent job. Oh, we love you, kid. Thanks for being with us.
Yeah, I'll call you later.
Love you too.
I love you, guys.
All right, sounds good. The Greek, ladies and gentlemen. All right, we're going to come back with more. The professor going to join us here. He's got the big board, and we'll be with you until about 9:45 here on a Degenerate Friday. The Greek was on fire last week. I did want to make a clarification here because I don't think we ever, finished off the explanation of what happened in that Marlins game.
No, you didn't.
Let me.
You pulled a Defo and you went to 3 different topics.
Never came back to it. What a surprise there.
Shock.
At least I wasn't analyzing raisin as I was eating it with chopsticks. But, that was an eye-opener. So what happened was it was raining, and they got to the 8th inning. I wasn't able to watch the game because of this DirecTV thing, I guess. I was at a birthday party for most of the game. I'm following it a little bit on my phone, although not quite Sarny-esque, where you're like glued to the phone there, and you got like 6 cell phones, and you're watching like 5 different events. So I saw it was zip, and I get back home. It's pouring. It's not exactly favorable conditions. They're doing everything in their power to get the game in, and so the Mets get a run in the bottom of the 8th. They go to the top of the 9th. Raining pretty hard, and the Marlins rally. In fact, they score 2 runs. Surprisingly, Jazz Chisholm, who we've been saying all year, I mean, just horrendous against left-handed pitching. Now, all of a sudden, he's lining these pitches to the opposite way. Yeah. And he had a double, ended up scoring on a subsequent hit. The Marlins then got another run. So it's 2-1, 2 away, runners on first and second, and they stopped the game. Which, I mean, look, it was pouring.
I get it. What do you do with that? Like, both teams lost ahead of the Marlins last night. Like, it was a perfect way for them to get a game lead and really control their own destiny.
Well, it's actually, it's favorable in this sense, okay? Regardless of how they do against Pittsburgh, if they can somehow just end up in a dead heat with the Cubs, which you would think there would be a half a game differential there, since the Cubs are going to be, completing one more game.
They now have a half game lead.
They have a half game lead on the Cubs, and they own the tiebreaker against the Cubs.
Yes.
I don't know that they catch Arizona, even though they lost, but the Reds appear to be in a little bit of tough shape. I think they're a game and a half back of the Marlins. Or of the Cubs. So anyway, bottom line is they have this in hand. It's almost like having a game in hand in hockey. In a Stanley Cup chase, where if they need to, they complete this game. So they'll have to go back to New York Monday for like a 1:10 start, and they will be up 2-1 in the ninth inning with runners on first
Oh,
and
so
second
they're
and
going
two
to
away.
see what happens if the Marlins somehow clinch without it.
Then they don't play that game. Yes.
Then they're just going to say, "Oh, I guess that makes sense." All right.
Skip Schumacher, the normally mild-mannered skipper of the Miami Marlins. My God, they had the groundskeeper out on the field after a 3-hour rain delay last night. They waited 3 hours before they called the game, and this was around 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
When they went into this rain delay. So and there were like 3 fans that stuck around, and we were sitting in the stands the entire time. They kept coming back to the stadium and showing clips of this thing. So anyway. Schumacher, I mean, he was already pissed off about the incident when they had to cancel the game on Wednesday night because the Mets ground crew had not covered the field for the Ophelia tropical storm that hit there. And on Saturday, it so doused the field and saturated the field with water that they couldn't play that Wednesday night game. And Schumacher was pissed about that, to the point where even Steve Cohen, the owner of the Mets, had to issue an apology and say, well, we know this is important to the Marlins. We're playing for nothing. Which the Mets, oddly, are playing to lose. If they lose, it's advantageous because they get into a new 6-team lottery in the draft. Now, the baseball draft is not quite like the NFL draft, but occasionally you'll see, a thing like this. Would you not have wanted to be in a position to draft as Paul Skeens if you saw him pitch?
Oh, yeah, of course.
For LSU? I mean, you're looking at a guy in college. It looks like he could step in right away in the pros and be a dominant starter. We've seen that before. Witness Paul Wilson of FSU, where it didn't work out, but you would look at this guy for, any of his starts there in the College Baseball World Series and say, my God, what a monster. So there would be reason to want to have the number 1 pick, in certain years, I would imagine, and certainly you want to be picking early on, but there's a lottery now for the top 6 teams. So the Mets, if they lose, they could end up in that lottery as one of the worst 6 teams in baseball and maybe take a shot at the number 1 pick. That's the lone, incentive for them is to just go out there and lose. And the Marlins, look what's riding on this thing. Can you imagine? You would consider it what? I mean, how deflating of a season would it be if at this stage with 3 games left against the Pirates, and now you have this other thing where even if you end up somehow trailing by, a half a game, you can go back there, get this 2-1 victory maybe. You need 1 reliever to throw 1 shutout inning.
Yeah.
Or anybody, for that matter. Who are you throwing out there, Libby?
I have no idea. I don't know.
And their rotation is fucked anyway, and so is, their bullpen has been overworked all year long. And especially so now. So we'll see what happens. Pirates, big-time spoilers coming up over the weekend. The Cubs have to go against the Braves, who haven't thrown in the towel.
I guess they still have World Series to play for or something.
They just clinched home field for everything. They now have the best record in baseball and can't be denied that. They do have guys going for certain records, I guess. I don't know if they're just playing for that, the Mike McDaniel thing. But, they have any number of guys that are achieving, I would imagine, contract bonus milestones every time they step on the field. They still seem to be playing with a lot of incentive to win, the Braves. So we'll see if they do the same thing against the Cubs that they just did in the previous series, or against the Cubs. The Cubs are in Milwaukee, I think. Yeah.
What are we talking about?
They just played the Cubs. They played the Cubs hard. Yeah,
Okay.
Cubs are in Milwaukee.
All right.
Marlins are in Pittsburgh. But, they will have the advantage of having a game that they're leading 2-1 in the ninth to complete, if indeed it becomes a factor. So that's where it stands. All right, the professor coming up here in just a moment. We'll have the professor, a big board. Is he ready with a big board today? Oh, very good.
What I know, it was a very active week in stupidity. So the professor, I think, is raring to go in many different angles.
By the way, I love having live sports on when we're on in these morning hours, and Ryder Cup action is taking place right now. And as of yet, the Americans are yet to raise a gallop. It's looking very much as chaotic as the Republican debate the other night. where people are just screaming at each other and pointing fingers. It's some serious ugliness going on. The Americans were down the first 4 matches. They lost them all. And they're out there in the midst of a session with the second 4 matches that are underway right now. And I don't think they're doing that swiftly, speaking to Taylor, in that either. All right, coming back with the professor in a moment. Now that.
The time.
It's 8:57.
Folks, Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously, friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. All those ingredients, no pun meant there, are hard to find unless you're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. You see, they encompass all of those attributes. Really, really good food, amazing atmosphere, good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs unmatched. Steaks hand cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. It's the one day, folks, that you can forget about low-carb diets. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
This has been great because as cold as Jersey Kyle has been with his degenerate stimulus package horses, this man has been on fire with Australian rules football to the point where people are calling him Crocodile as he joins us here on the show. The Crocodile himself, the professor, now 14-8 in documented picks on Australian rules football. Professor, how are you, my friend?
I'm good, Defo. In fact, not only am I 14-8 and picking Australian rules football, I am 6-0 in Australia's favorite national game. Is this or is this not a night?
The best way to kick off your day is with Defo plus Lubie. We now return to the Defo Show.
All right, welcome back to the show. Good to have you with us at Degenerate Friday. And we always love when this gentleman joins us here on the program with his college football expertise. Nice pick there, Professor. Thank you. Washington State. Although we did have to sweat that out. There was a little bit of a schwitz towards the end of that game. How weird was that it boiled down to the possibility that an onside kick might ruin you? But it seemed like they were in full command in that ball game. I hope you cashed a hefty ticket.
Oh, are we talking about stuff now? I didn't know if we're doing another 10 minutes on the Mets' chance in the MLB draft lottery. What a fascinating segment that was.
Yeah, that was. I mean, that was right up there
Bring
with
your Long Island weather and the history of the Major League Baseball draft. Yeah, that was fantastic shit there.
that probably
Middle of football season.
Huge
Let's
numbers.
break down Paul Wilson's history as a draft prospect.
Thought that guy was a surefire hit as a major leaguer.
Jesus Christ.
Go for another 10 minutes.
How are you, Professor? How's everything going?
A little cantankerous now.
Yeah, you're a little,
Show
upset
up on
this morning.
time to have to listen to a rant about weather in a goddamn Marlins game. Who the hell
Lubie
cares?
wanted an explanation, as did many of our people on the chat line. Like,
I didn't realize you'd go
what
into
the
that.
fuck happened there?
I'm sorry. I apologize.
Yeah, that was up there with Mayo scrutinizing that raisin while eating it with chopsticks yesterday at a hamburger joint. You're right, Professor. I mean, there are hotter topics that we could be discussing.
Really?
Sure.
There's hotter topics than who might be the next Paul Skeens?
Let him break it down.
You're not big on college baseball unless you're in on
Actually,
that
I am.
Alabama coach.
You knew who Paul Skeens was, to be honest with you. But yeah, pretty funny.
Intro.
Pretty interesting lead in there.
Yeah, no, it was a little bit of a diversion. You're right. All right. How'd you fare last week? I mean, that was a great pick, Washington State.
Again, back and forth. It's been like that all season. Started off great on Friday with winners on Wisconsin and San Diego State, who actually should have won the game straight up and given us the money line too, but didn't work out that way with a fumble on the goal line. Then Saturday afternoon, kind of flagged, and then came back again Saturday night, cash nice tickets on Washington State on the money line. And then the under in the Notre Dame game. Unfortunately, got the push on the side because Al Golden can't fucking count. Good job, Al. Not only do you have 10 players on the field for the crucial goal line play, turns out you had 10 players in the field like 3 other times during the game. At some point during the season, we're going to find out that Al Golden just learned you can have 11 players.
I think he's been watching too much soccer. Yeah, he red-carded a couple of guys.
It explains the Miami years, honestly.
Yes. I thought that was a brilliant hire. When
Flames let down here. Good job, Al.
Is he still wearing a shirt and tie on the sidelines, even though everybody else is dressed in casual clothing?
Coach now.
All right, very good. Yeah, that was ugly.
And if he dresses formal, that makes Freeman, Notre Dame's coach, look slightly less handsome by comparison. And I'm pretty sure at this point that's the entire point of Marcus Freeman being Notre Dame's coach. He's very good-looking gentleman, but can't really coach for shit. So
may as well be Jerry Faust. Exactly. For original-looking Jerry Faust.
Give him a little sideline candy.
All right, now, what did you think about this? I'm assuming that that the rule is that even if there's no time left on the clock, you have to attempt an extra point. Is that true?
You do not have to. In college, it is the coach's choice.
Okay, good. All right.
Whether you do or not. So had time run out, likely Ryan Day would not have chosen to kick the extra point.
Of course. Yeah.
Get to the sidelines a little bit quicker and scream about Lou Holtz.
So much was swinging on that. Yeah, I mean.
That was everything.
And then that great speech after the ball game.
I didn't really think it was a great speech. I thought it was an unhinged, psychotic speech.
Well, that's what I meant. I was being facetious.
Clearly knows he's getting fucking fired if Harbaugh kicks his ass again this year.
Didn't it seem like the ramblings of a madman? It really did.
Ryan Day, you have like the 4th best record in college football history, the best record against top 20 teams, active among coaches, better than Nick Saban. But again, if Harbaugh whips your ass again this year, you're clearly getting fired and you know it.
Yeah.
So, and honestly, fired by Ohio State has not historically been a good launching point. So he's a young guy, could finish him off.
Wasn't an especially impressive performance there by Ohio State by any means. I thought they were outplayed in the ball game. Seemed like Notre Dame, if you were going to avoid them an edge.
Apparently, Freeman and his offensive coordinator just learned that the forward pass was a thing.
It's like your Syracuse coach.
Yeah, it was, and it was tough because at the end there, nobody was clear. I'm glad you clarified that because I thought that was only a rule in the pros that you had to.
It is in the pros. It is rule in college. It is the coach's choice. Very clearly, had the clock gone down, he wasn't going to kick because why would you? Only gives Notre Dame a chance to block and return for the 2 points.
That's why we thought if he had to do it, they were going to just come out, line up for a 2-pointer and take a knee. And not even attempt it, with no time left. But and that was only brought about. I don't think they would have put this second back on the clock had they not had to review the touchdown.
That sounds about accurate.
If the guy goes in easily standing up, then which he could have since he was only facing a 10-man defensive unit, then I don't think they look at that play. And we win.
Ironies of ironies.
Al fucking Golden.
I'm not going to point out that if you had just taken Washington State and run with it, you would have won anyway.
No, I ended up winning because I had, of course, I had to complicate this, and I didn't even want to admit it to you, but I was looking to make a little parlay just so I'd have some action where I might be able to win a few bucks. And, I'm not going to put a substantial amount of money out there on one game anyway. So I did parlay Washington State to Notre Dame, so I did cash on the Washington State game in reality.
Okay.
Because this isn't like the parlay cards, which were among my. Were you ever involved in parlay cards, Professor? Even
many years
distribution?
Ago. Yeah. No, not in distribution. I played them, I think, starting in the 9th grade.
Where did they get the lettering for this? I mean, did they go to a combination of different typewriters?
I always wondered about that. Was there a print store that
printed up
parlay cards?
It always looked like a ransom note of point spreads, didn't it?
No. By the time I was getting them a few years later, they were like professionally printed out. And I was wondering, I don't remember, was it PIP back in the days?
Yes.
Kinko's before it was Kinko's.
Oh, okay.
I wondered if there was like a guy who printed them up. Like, okay, do you not know what these are? Are you the only male in America who are unaware that these are gambling related? Or did somebody have like a professional print shop just to do this?
It was great, though. I mean, because, as some kind of discouragement for playing parlays and parlay cards in particular, you lost on a push on the parlay card. And I lived with that misconception for many years.
And much like
realized.
Francesco and some of your handicappers over the years, the lines were always just a few points in the direction that they wanted them to be, particularly involving the local teams.
There was an inflation factor there that goes beyond Joe Biden, that's for sure. And, it was extremely fugazi, the entire operation. And yet, as you said, it seemed like maybe it came from one central organization. Was it the Chinese? Who was behind this?
Again, it very well may have been PIP printing. That may have been where it started. Was some print shop owner was like, God damn, people aren't making garage sale flyers this week. I need a new stream of income. Let's print out some parlay gambling cards.
There's always some sleaze bag that looked like James Woods' character in Casino that was distributing
Actually, honestly, my distributors on them over the years.
Yeah.
Okay, again, first of all, it started in the 9th grade, so it was like literally a 14-year-old who was passing around my high school. And like, I find it to be like an interesting collection of people because it's not really your typical bookie types. It's,
No, this is true.
Yeah, it has to be like waitresses, and it's bizarre.
Speaking of which, we did congratulate earlier this week the Catwoman, who you've met many times at Stingers, and cashed on Brooks Robinson checking out $13,500, splitting it with another partner.
Jeez, that's kind of cold, isn't it?
I love that.
Not to me. I mean, Brooks is dead anyway. What's the difference? Throw some flowers on his gravestone.
I mean, look, congrats to Cat, but I'm not going to dance on the dude's grave.
It's more of a celebration of life, I would say, and the fact that it ended.
Kind of disgusting, honestly.
You, of all people, condemning a form of wagering?
If it's some scumbag who probably should be dead anyway, like when Harvey Weinstein kicks, I'll be happy to cash the ticket. But Brooks Robinson's like a beloved figure. You don't want to
no doubt about
celebrate his death.
What do you mean? Devo found out
grim.
As the Sting was like, yes, and he's like, what's going on? She's like, she did it. She did it.
Also, once again, you have the most bizarre fucking entries in your Deadpools of all time.
They were ugly, yeah.
Like, how the hell that was Brooke Robinson in a fucking Deadpool?
Think about this, though. I mean, you get the draw, which anytime it turns over, you have to redraw names. And you go to the draw, and then you immediately Google this person's health status. And you're hoping, to see leukemia listed among, or maybe pancreatic cancer to be listed among the things.
Participate in are just total fucking chaos. Any quality Deadpool has to be there is an age cap, so you can't put 108-year-olds in.
Yes, although Jimmy Carter's still hanging on. I have him from a Deadpool previously.
And no known diseases. You can't have someone who's already got fucking cancer in
your
Deadpool.
You see them with a shaved head, and you're
and
thinking,
trust me, this comes from someone who has controversially tried to enter Magic Johnson into his Deadpool for 20 consecutive years.
Yes,
because my argument is they say he doesn't have AIDS anymore, so technically he's disease free.
Yeah, whatever those Germans injected him with, how come that wasn't more universally distributed, even at a high price?
Only Magic got it.
Seems like he's better than ever, for sure. In fact, he's advocating health clinics and healthcare at this stage, and among the many things.
Right, that dude with HIV, it now plugs healthcare.
What isn't Travis Kelce selling? We were trying to figure this out. What isn't Travis Kelce selling? Have you seen any commercial that doesn't? He's even on the Ozempic ad, I think. At this point, Travis Kelce has become universally known now, and has only enhanced that level of popularity with this whole Taylor Swift thing. What do you think about this as a restaurant owner? Would you have closed the Foundry if Taylor Swift's people called up or Travis Kelce,
No,
and
because it was for the rest of the team. Jackson Mahomes and Brittany Mahomes are not coming to my fucking place. I'll kick them right the fuck out.
oh, okay, so you wouldn't want him there anyway.
I tell Patrick he can come, but if you bring your fucking wife or your brother, you're all going right to the curb. Those people are not allowed in.
No soup for you. All right. Even if it's the bisque.
Plus, honestly, it's Taylor Swift. If there's like something goes wrong, if her steak comes out, I don't know, medium instead of well, she's gonna write a hate song. That's what she does.
Yeah. Imagine the Foundry
Gonna
permanently.
write a song about how you ruined her date, and it was the thing when it was just like 15-year-old girls who listened to her shit.
Yeah.
I didn't care because
Right.
but now it's like 35-year-old women take everything Taylor Swift does very, very seriously. Adult women who have income to spend are, ruining lives based on Taylor Swift's recommendation. And it's not something I want.
He was cursing at that game like Joe Avisano.
Particularly when it comes to the restaurant business, because look at Taylor Swift. Clearly, she does not like to eat.
She doesn't eat it all. Exactly.
That's
So
true,
she must not like anything.
Yeah, so what endorsement isn't Travis Kelce going to get? He's not going to get Subway because, like, they're going to look at it like, yeah, you need a sandwich, dude. Like,
He's like Charles Howell III, the
keep
golfer.
that girl out of her store.
All right,
Charles
Professor.
Howell the third, she's like Fiona freaking Apple. Like, have a meal.
Yeah. Andy says you're safe. Nothing rhymes with Foundry. Boundary. All right, she could work that in there. All right, what do we have on a college slate,
Shake
Professor?
it off, Brittany Mahomes. Yeah. No.
What
I
do we
wouldn't do that. Get lost.
What are we looking at this week, Professor?
We start tonight, Utah, Oregon State. Utah, the best defense in the Pac-12, going against an Oregon State team that struggled with turnovers last week. I still don't think you look at accuracy, you look at the style of play. I don't think DJ fits Oregon State. Getting 4.5, I'll take Utah all day long, right out of the box tonight. It does look like Cam Rising will not play, but that doesn't really bother me with Utah. I think they're excuse me. I think they're a defensive team, and I'll take the points.
Looking to cash 2 weeks in a row against Oregon State with DJ Ukulele there at quarterback.
Ukulele.
I thought it was ukulele, no?
Ungamele. I don't know.
Ukulele is his name.
What's
All
his
right.
name?
So you have Utah getting 4 against Oregon State on tonight's slate. The Professor, what else you have for us?
Georgia State and Troy on Saturday night. Georgia State comes in at 4-0, probably the most underrated team in the Sun Belt, looking very strong after a win over Coastal Carolina, where they went to Coastal and manhandled them last week. Troy really not up to their usual standards, 2-2 coming into the ball game. Their quarterback play not as efficient. If you've seen Troy, they of course have been running that air raid type system, which requires a lot of passing efficiency. Their quarterback only comes in completing about 58% of his passes, which is really low for an air raid team. So Georgia State, nice balanced offensive quarterbacks, a nice dual threat. Balanced as anybody in the league, really offensively. Only laying 1 at home. Georgia State looks like a real easy spot to me. -1.
All right, very good. So we have Georgia State, we have Utah, and where else are we going on college football?
We're going to pick one of the features here and go 3:30. Georgia laying 14.5 to Auburn in the South's oldest rivalry. I think Georgia cruises in this game. Auburn's offense looks pathetic. They can't block anybody. They couldn't block Texas A&M. The Georgia defensive line is the strength of that defense right now. Georgia struggled a little bit on the offensive end, but I think Auburn and a totally inept offense is a good way to get that started. Look for the Georgia running game. Their running back just returned 2 games ago. Look for that to look good in this game. They've actually been more of a passing team thus far, but I think that'll balance out this week. Big number here, but I would lay the 14 and a hook with Georgia over Auburn.
All right. And how long before Paul Skeens makes his first major league start?
Oh, my God.
We're going to go down that
You didn't
road
think
again?
Wilson was a cinch to make it? Florida
break
State
down
stand out?
Should we break down some more weather? Should I get at that freaking app? Talk about the storm
In
front
Pittsburgh.
that's going to hit the East Coast.
Holy shit.
A rainy day in Georgia. All right. Big
Really,
board.
maybe we should talk some more Ryder Cup. That's doing well for you American golf fans.
This is ugliness here. Wow, beautiful day in Italy, though. Beautiful
How's
day
that
in
going,
Rome.
American golfers? Doing another quality job, getting your ass kicked.
Exactly.
By the way, okay, here's my thing with the Ryder Cup.
Yes.
Every time the basketball team, full of young black guys who's won 1 million gold medals, fucks up, everybody can't wait to jump on their necks and call them lazy and disorganized. Oh, we need to bring in Coach K to get these. But every time these lazy white golfers who are so busy worrying about the Live Tour that they go out and they get their asses kicked by Victor Hovland, nobody says shit to these entitled douchebags. How about a little bit, let's fire up America for these golfers. Let's make American golf great again instead of going and letting John Rahm eat you like the buffet at Shoney's. How about a little American pride, lazy American Ryder Cup golfers? Go out there and show a little spirit and do a little something instead of laying down once again and saying, oh, we're in Europe, so it's okay for us to lose. Where every freaking time we go and get our asses kicked by Europe, first 100 years we play this, we never freaking lost. Now we lose every time we go to Europe, and nobody ever says shit to these lazy, entitled golfers about it. How about we start holding them to the same standard we hold young black basketball players to? Would that be
an element of
unreasonable?
racism involved?
I think there is a little bit of element of racism in here. I feel like maybe it's time to start holding the Ryder Cup team to the same standard we hold all the other national teams to, but we never do. We're all like, oh, it's okay. We lost to Europe in golf. That's no big deal. That's an expectation. Really? When did that become an expectation? You didn't see Jack Nicklaus losing to freaking Europeans.
They may as well be playing at the ruins of Pompeii as far as the Americans go. Not having much success here on what looks to be a rather lavish Italian golf course here on a beautiful day there in Rome, Italy. Except if you had, you think Phil bet the U.S.? Not sure where his money is, but down 4-0, and 4 matches going on right now, and we're up in none of them. So not good. All right, let's get to the big board. I mean, you've already had elements that could easily have qualified for big board material here with some excellent rants. What are we doing with the big board today, Professor?
Well, we're trying to load it up here. Hold on one second. Give me a second to actually start.
No problem. You want to talk some baseball draft?
Oh no, guys!
Yeah, I'm sure you will.
Please, God, no. We're good.
Anyway, there's so much going on in the world of sports, and that was before the Ryder team started to decide to lay down like a $4 whore to Europe. These lazy, worthless, uninspired American golfers. Show a little national pride, you jerk-offs. Let's. And that was before all of that. Before Justin Thomas and whoever else decided to go out and lay another egg in the Ryder Cup. It was already a crowded full week, and so we got a lot of things to talk about, so we couldn't isolate on any subject this week. So we're going to do the big board of news of a very full week. So we can cover a lot of ground here.
Let's do it.
That takes us to number 5, which last Saturday, of course, the Colorado Buffaloes got their asses absolutely handed to them by the Oregon Ducks. And that, of course, led to Fox needing to maybe invent some things because, among other things, Colorado-Oregon was the highest-rated football game of the week. So Fox decided we need to go to a noon start, 10 a.m. local start, 9 a.m. local start for USC Colorado in hopes of maybe if we start the game in the middle of the morning, that'll keep Deion and his team interested in the game. Maybe that'll keep USC from scoring less than 84 points in the game. I don't think any of it's going to work out for Colorado and Deion, but that seems to be the plan for Fox. Here's the thing. USC actually, style-wise, kind of falls into Colorado's wheelhouse.
Yep.
Not a great defensive team. Could be a lot of scoring. If Fox is going to this end, if Fox is going to a 10 a.m. local kick to try to keep Colorado on this, what the hell's going to happen when Colorado has to play a team with a real defensive line? Is Fox, when Colorado has to play Utah towards the end of the season, are they just going to go full pro wrestling and have, I don't know, Brady Quinn hit Utah defensive lineman with a folding chair? Are they going to go to their WWE program? Have somebody roll over the Utah team bus in a monster truck? Vince McMahon come out and fire half the defensive line? I mean, look, if we're already going to the 9 a.m. local kickoff for USC in this situation to try to save Coach Prime in Colorado, I don't know how many other places you have to go in order to enact your keep Colorado relevant program there, Fox News.
Yeah, the back-to-back spankings aren't going to look good. May diminish some of that bloom that is on the prime rose right now. But we'll see what happens. Like you say, dreadful defense, overlooking good in that game. That's number 5.
The other thing we learned, by the way,
Yeah.
with I don't know if you saw the story where Shiloh Sanders talked a bunch of smack before the game and then had to go to the hospital after the game
Yes.
because he was peeing blood and they were worried he ruptured a kidney during the game. So we learned that when players go from 1AA to 1A, when they get hit at the 1A level, their organs just explode. Like Travis Hunter has a lacerated liver. Shiloh's kidneys explode. I mean, the way he's getting hit, Shador's lungs are just going to blow up in the middle of the game at some point.
First on-field lung transplant will be administered. Yes.
Some poor bastard lineman's brain is going to leak out of his nose. Like, clearly we're seeing the dangers of what happens when you put these guys on the field.
Remember when the trainer would just come out and spray something that looked like Freon on a guy's thumb, and that was all they were capable of doing? Now they're doing like brain surgery on the field. It's incredible.
Literally.
That's why they have the little tent.
All right, that's number 5 on the
That takes
big
us
board this
to
week.
number 4 in the story of big news of the week, which is Mac Jones tries to grab Sauce Gardner's crotch and
Yes.
fined by the league. I don't know what more to say about Max Jones. First, the guy DUIs, then he tries to kick a Raider player in the crotch. Was it Chandler Jones? He tried to kick him in the crotch last week? Because look what happened to Chandler Jones yesterday. Kicked him in the crotch, knocked his brains out. Now he's trying to sexually molest Sauce Gardner during the middle of a football game. Like, what more does this man have to do before the NFL does something about him and the New England Patriots?
He's Grayson Allen with a
I don't know if he's not Grayson Allen. He full on grabbed his junk right in the middle of a game.
He's a sexual predator.
Exactly, he's a sexual predator. Not that that's a surprise, because when the team is owned by a sex offender, it sort of makes sense that your quarterback is a sexual predator. And we all know about the last quarterback in a series of odd pictures with his own male offspring.
Yeah.
So, now Mac Jones is taking it to the field and is just molesting other opponent players right in the middle of the game. Really isn't that big a shock to me personally. But I do wonder
Makes
when
sense.
the NFL is going to step in.
You think might at least launch some kind of in-house investigation there as to what's going on.
Yeah, right? It's like the National Football League is being run by Jim Jordan. He's like, sexually molesting athletes isn't that big a deal. We've already established that here in the Congress. So, we don't really care if Mac Jones does it.
Excellent. All right, number 4 on the big board. Stop trying to deflate my balls. Yes.
The most expensive phone sex in the history of the world.
God. Oh, Jesus.
Michigan State fires Mel Tucker over. And look, I'll be honest. When we talked about this a couple weeks ago, I had an opinion. My opinion is changing a little bit because apparently Mel Tucker really did try to cover this up on several occasions. But still, like $80 million left on your contract and you lose it all for phone sex?
Remember when it was 99 cents a minute?
Right? Remember when they used to advertise those 900 lines on late night TV?
You jerk off and 4
$80
minutes
million.
later, you're out
I
of
mean,
five spots.
I know inflation is a bitch, but when 900 calls now cost you $80 million.
Holy Jeff Tubin. What was this man thinking?
Yeah, what are you doing? Come on, man.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, 80 mil, I feel like you can actually get laid for that price. I mean, I
could have found any number of ways to satisfy himself that probably would have been far less expensive.
I haven't been in any of the strip clubs lately, but I think for 80 mil, at the very least, a lap dance, right?
Yes, you could have done a lot better than that.
You would think so. I mean, even at Parky's, he could have gone down there and gotten more of his money's worth.
Anyway,
those girls were coming out of the kitchen. Yeah.
And we may talk about this on a future Big Board and compare it to some other strange sex scandals and issues. But this has got to be the keeper, right? I mean,
for what he lost, for what he did.
I mean, it was only 30 grand or something for Stormy Daniels.
Yeah, really. I think it was 100 or 200,
something, whatever. Yeah,
but still,
and he still was president. It didn't ruin him.
At least he got to bang her. I mean, it wasn't phone sex.
He got to be president after that.
And he's still around. This guy's done.
Still around. He's still lurking.
Big, stupid ass.
I don't know, man.
No luck for Tucker on that one. That's for sure. All right, that's number 3. Dumbest sex scandal ever.
Number 2, the one we got to talk about that everybody in America is talking about.
Oh, okay, I know it's coming. Oh no, it's
a certain couple.
That's it. This is it.
Yeah.
My favorite take on the couple, of course, as you see here, obviously what's coming: Brittany Mahomes and Taylor Swift.
He's gonna take him out. Mahomes gonna take.
There's no way Brittany Mahomes is putting up with this shit. There's no way.
Oh my god!
And her husband's the quarterback, not the freaking tight end.
Yeah.
You really think she's just gonna let Taylor Swift come in there and take over professional football? But more to the point, can we talk about this for a second here, Defo? Because I feel, and I am not a Taylor Swift fan, but I feel like Taylor Swift is doing a huge disservice for women in the NFL. I feel like if you are a
dying, right?
Sorry, now I got a cough this morning.
Okay.
If you are a guy who has a girlfriend or a wife who is a Taylor Swift fan, and she is now having her first exposure to professional football because Taylor Swift is dating Travis Kelce, and the way Taylor Swift has chosen to introduce your wife or girlfriend to football is through a game with the Chicago Bears and then the New York Jets. Taylor Swift is trying to ruin your fucking life.
You really have no shot at her watching any football.
Your wife is going to be like, really? Have you watched these games? This is the worst thing I've ever seen in my life.
What is this dreck? Yes, exactly. It's a good point. It really is.
God damn, Taylor Swift, you couldn't have waited to go to Germany for the Dolphins Chiefs.
Exactly.
It's going to be like 56-49 with
chicks would love that.
Is there a prop yet on whether she'll be there in the game in Germany?
If you started your football watching career with a Bears and Jets game, would you fly over to Germany for a game?
I guess she's like
only if I considered staying there, so I'd never see professional football again. That's a good point. Yeah, 2 dreadful games that you've been forced to watch, which are blatant mismatches.
That she's introducing millions of American women to for the first time.
And like you said, it's unlikely she's going to show up in a Subway commercial. Although that was a big feature, wasn't it, with the sex offender Jared, that he had lost like 60 pounds eating sub sandwiches, which I have never found to be a workable diet.
If she loses 60 pounds, she's going to vanish. If she loses 6 pounds, there's a chance she might die. Like, what the hell are you talking about? Weight loss? Yeah, that's the last thing that girl needs.
No. I mean, she's waif-like as it is. All right, that's number 2. Number 1 on the big board.
Number 1, you actually mentioned it earlier, and it's just barely sports related, but it was, to me, the event of the week, and we need to talk about it. And the way we will, of course, enter is because, of course, once again, the announcement yesterday is that the Florida gambling bill has gotten screwed up once again, and we have one man to thank for that, and that is very possible lizard person Ron DeSantis.
Yes.
I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I am not necessarily, Mr. Aliens. But if you do believe in reptilians, doesn't this look like a reptilian remembering, oh, yes, I'm supposed to smile at the end of it?
Yes.
Doesn't this look like a lizard in a skin suit saying, oh, yes, humans smile when they say things?
It does have that look that you would see maybe posted on America's Most Wanted there. You're waiting for the rest of the story with this guy, and unfortunately, we know it.
What the fuck face is that?
Yeah.
Like I said, can't get a gambling bill done, probably because too busy taking Remember to Smile lessons.
John Walsh comes walking out of a cloud of smoke here to make the introduction to the Ron DeSantis story.
But
Yeah,
that
I mean,
wasn't my-
what was that clandestine meeting, though? I mean, all of a sudden it was like a Native American thing. The Seminoles had full rights to everything, and everybody else got shut out.
That wasn't my favorite moment of the Republican debates.
Yeah.
My favorite moment, because we've heard the chants, and I just barely realized that when these people chant, build the wall, Vivek thought that meant on top of his head. What the hell, Elvis?
Yeah, this guy's some strange
What
guy.
is with that hair?
Honestly,
You're rapping Eminem songs, and now you come out with I don't know, Kaneki from Grease's hairdo. Like
It
the
looks
hell
like
is
Sean
going
Penn
on,
in
Vivek?
Dead Man Walking. Do you remember that hairdo?
Yes, there you go. Build the wall. Vivek apparently thought that meant take the hair up like Kid from Kid and Play.
Yeah, it was such ugliness. We equated it. Didn't it seem like that debate was very much like a Conor McGregor pre-fight press conference when McGregor was relevant? And you're waiting for the chaos.
No,
the
those
pandemonium
were
to
much
break
more
out.
entertaining and fun.
Yeah, probably so. You're right. It very much also reminded me
And honestly, Conor McGregor has better hair than Vivek did. I mean,
a stadium full of vuvuzela advocates, where you're just hearing that all game long. Unbelievable. All right, Professor, what do you have going for the weekend? Anything? Any special plans? Where are you going to be watching all of these games?
Don't know yet. We'll figure it out.
All right, sounds good. And good luck with all of your wagers. Outstanding job as always. We'll catch you later on as we will attempt another edition of License to Steal later on today. And I hear you're on board for that, so that'll be great. All right, thanks, Professor. Thanks for joining us. Always a pleasure.
Appreciate
Can
it.
we get back to that baseball draft now, Lubie? And
Jesus.
the Mets' quest for the number 6 spot there so they can be in a lottery with little chance of being the number 1 pick, but nonetheless, there could be another Paul Skeens. You just never know what's coming out of the college ranks.
Mayo's here now. Do we want to take a break or do you want to go right to Mayo and then we'll cap off another?
So throw in a couple of spots here for our fine sponsors, and then we'll see. I don't even know. I mean, that performance yesterday was so bizarre that I'm starting to really question what we're doing with this guy.
It bothers you more than it bothers me. I just shake my head. It's just like, okay, I don't know what the fuck he's doing.
He's analyzing a fucking reason that he has that he's eating with chopsticks while there's all this food in front of him that obviously he wants to eat. And then he's worried that he's going to dip this raisin in barbecue sauce because it has a high sugar content. And he's actually, looking for a response from the lovely Beth Gilbert there. And she's like, what the fuck do I know about this? Just dip it in there. Like, that's going to change the diet, right? It's an old Art Donovan story where, a guy eats like 20 pieces of fried chicken and then he has an iced tea and he drops a thing of saccharin in there.
Yeah, exactly.
All right,
Exactly.
back with more in a moment. Well, I don't even know if we want an explanation on that. I'm just hoping to move on from yesterday. Aren't you, Libby?
I'd love to, yeah.
Today's a new date with Mike Mayo, and we'll explore that. He did have a nice tip horse yesterday. It didn't win, but it was well meant. You can't fault the guy when that happens. Sure, 8-1 shot, closing at the end. Looks like I had a chance to get up. Back with more in a moment. Now that.
The time.
It's 9:35. Ponies in Style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine food served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in Style, and you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in Plantation, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Are you looking to buy your first home? Have you been turned down for a loan? Do you need to refinance or get money out of your home? Call Michael Kodzie, CEO of Choice Mortgage. He's been helping the South Florida community get mortgages for 30 years.
Hi, this is Michael Kodzie, CEO of Choice Mortgage. We have the most competitive fixed rates in the market. Call me 24/7, 561-441-2730. And remember, I don't just work banking hours. To make the right choice for your home, call Choice Mortgage today.
All right, so
Here's
you have
my
the poem. Let's do it.
Roses are red, violets are blue. Cued from the late double. Sorry, no champagne or caviar for you.
Mike Mayo, the Gambling Gourmet, ladies and gentlemen.
The only way to get your morning started is with Defo, joined by Lubie, right here on the Defo Show.
Only thing you can think of here, Lubie, is total hypocrisy. You're not going to gross out our viewers with this ridiculousness of yours, are you? You want to just close out the show, Lubie?
After that onslaught last night. I love
Fucking guy is accusing Mike McDaniel of being a hypocrite for throwing bombs and then taking a knee. Then he does the whole show. He analyzes. He's got if you didn't see Mike Mayo's lunchbox, he's eating the tiniest piece of an apple, like you wouldn't feed to a bird, with chopsticks. So while he's looking at a bunch of fried chicken, and and he's pestering, and actually just continuing while eating to talk about, I don't know, can I dip that in the barbecue sauce, or does that have some kind of high glucose content? Like, what the fuck? Just eat it or not? And then, even Beth Gilbert was astounded by this behavior.
You were absolutely repulsed. It was
the worst ever of your antics. And then
I thought.
So where were you last night, though, Mr. Hypocrite?
I kept getting pictures of these things that seem.
I didn't see that till this morning. I'm glad I didn't see it because I wouldn't have been able to sleep worrying about your hypocrisy.
First of all, good morning, gentlemen. Happy Degenerate Friday. Second of all, I thought you were going to storm off the set yesterday.
No. I mean,
a look of disgust.
It was. It was very sad. The whole performance was. I mean, when you just keep commenting about, can I dip this in the salad dressing? This key lime pie. I'm like, dip it in whatever the fuck you want. Just eat it. We don't need to hear about
gambling.
Are you educating people with that?
Part of the new Gambling Gourmet is like I've got to pick my spots now. So I was trying to be good yesterday, okay, and I didn't even get in any exercise yesterday because it was raining and I couldn't get to the gym. And then I got it.
What gym? Wait a minute. What gym?
I've now joined the YMCA. $61 a month too. It's expensive.
$61? That's not bad, is it? I don't know. What's
well, but I get my choice of YMCA's. There's one right near Gulfstream. I might actually go after the show today.
I'm gonna,
even though I just did
take a bet you don't.
Walk of life. Yeah. I did a 3.5 mile walk of life. Right now, I hurried back before I could get to 4 because Lubie said he's got a little airtime for me, and I wanted to defend myself. But
what defense is there, Mr. Menendez? I mean, was it your Cuban heritage? I mean, that forced you to put all these gold bars in your bathroom?
At the time, it seemed like a good idea. But then I got an offer I couldn't refuse. I met up last night for business dinner with our friends Kate and Phil from the Visit Lauderdale Food and Wine Festival. Yeah. We actually ventured outside of the county lines to check out a place called Walrus Rodeo.
Okay.
Don't ask me to explain the name, a very bizarre name, but it's the sister restaurant in the same strip mall. It's in Little Haiti. It's a very kind of weird rundown strip mall. There's like a laundromat that is very active, a coin laundromat. And then on one side of it is a Michelin-starred restaurant called Boya Day. And then the same couple that operate that restaurant opened up this Walrus Rodeo earlier this year. It has a wood-fired oven, and everything in the joint basically goes into the wood-fired oven. They got all these vegetable dishes. They had a spectacular array. I got stuck in traffic on I-95, and I texted Phil and Kate saying that I got caught in traffic hell. They said, that's okay. We just got here. Is it okay? We just ordered basically the entire menu.
Not uncommon for people that you're dining with.
And I was like, okay. So I went down there, and the plates, again, it was a display that the staff was like, you sure you want to do this? At one point, they ordered all 4 pizzas that they have on the menu, but then we canceled one of the pizzas, and I made the late addition of the quail, and that was for you, Jeff Defo, because I know you were a
what
big
was, I mean,
quail
yeah,
fan.
quail, always number one priority for me. So what was the point of all of that bullshit that you were going through at the show? Where
No, I mean, I'm back on
and
track.
you always have to have a mouthful of food when you start asking, is there any sugar in this? I don't know what to do. My God, I mean, what kind of patheticness was this, Mike Mayo? Be a man.
Every
You know
day.
that scene in The Godfather where the singer is whining, the guy that is supposedly the Sinatra guy, and he's whining, they won't hire me for anything. And finally,
Slaps and goes, come on, be a
Be a
man.
man.
Be a man. Yeah.
Come on. That's what, and Lubie wanted to say it, but he's
But
too nice.
do you guys want me to stick around? Look, when I have a chance to eat in moderation and with some sort of sense of consideration of calories and sugar and fat content, I should take advantage.
That's
of that,
fine, but you don't have to do play-by-play about it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you're having a thing of mustard, just have it.
Eat the fucking mustard.
Speaking of play-by-play,
You're
I
going to
know
sit
we're
there
running
and
out of
read the
time.
ingredients to like a thing of French's mustard, and decide whether to put your whatever that was you were eating into the salad dressing instead. I'm like, this guy's nuts.
Let's talk food later on the lunchbox. We'll be at Gulfstream at noon. I know you got a hard out in 3 minutes. I feel like I'm at that restaurant where Travis Kelce and Taylor were coming in. I've got to pack up my yogurt and go at 9:45. I wanted to get into a couple things with gambling, but I don't even have time for it now. But the other thing is, I've now started to pay attention to the Marlins now that they're in the thick of the wild card hunt. And I was driving back from this restaurant last night, actually trying to find the Marlins game. And lo and behold, I flipped to a radio station that we're all
940, yeah, they had the game.
And listening to the game as they rally and take the lead in the ninth. And then I started to miss Glenn Gaffner because to me, if you're a play-by-play guy, you should know the rules of the sport that you're
You would
in,
think.
even if they're a little bit esoteric. Because when the game got halted and the Marlins were leading 2-1, he was making it out to be that the game might get suspended, but not suspended, but the Marlins would be awarded the win right off the bat if they couldn't resume play last night, which they could not.
That seemed impossible as a scenario.
But the actual rule is, actually, if the Marlins were ahead and had scored 2 runs earlier in the game and were up 2-1, then it would have been an official game.
They would have reverted back to the previous inning.
The rule is when you're the home team, the home team gets a chance to even the score if the visiting team takes the lead in the top of the inning when the rain comes. So the bottom line is, everybody waited around all night, and I kept waking up to see what was happening, and it was bizarre. I got my news from the New York Post online.
Get out of here! You are embracing the Post.
I am.
You're supporting
total
Rupert
hypocrisy.
Murdoch. There you go again, man. Because they have the best sports section. There's no question. I don't know. The Globe may still have a great sports section. I haven't seen a Boston paper in a long time.
But the Post writer explained it all and the rule and the fact that they would have to come back to Citi Field on Monday afternoon and pick up the game where it left off. Men on first and second, 2 outs, top of the ninth.
Oddly, I was listening to that portion of the broadcast. I was driving home around 10 o'clock last night, maybe a little earlier. And we know the young man that does that, Kyle Seeloff, and he was lost. He was trying to figure out what the hell happens.
Yeah. And usually when I was covering a sport for a major, I would know the rules of the sport that I was covering. So,
even if you had suspicions, otherwise, it seems like you would be able to find out fast enough to,
producers.
not be in a situation where, he said, well, I don't know what they're going to do.
But all right, I won't want to beat up on anybody. I am the hypocrite of the day. Enjoy your morning. I'll see you at Gulfstream at noon.
Sounds good to me. Yeah. I'm glad he signed off quickly there because I don't think our audience really wants to see the disgusting habit this man has of, just the shoveling food in his face while he's talking.
I love that he keeps talking. That is the thing that's interesting. It's like, it's okay. You don't have to talk.
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, you have other people on the show.
Yeah.
But I don't think he wants to ever relinquish control.
Well, whatever.
I think that's a stigma that he needs to address if he went to a professional broadcasting, analyst they would say, it's okay. You got a mouthful of food. Let the other people say something.
Yes, please.
You don't have to just keep rolling right through it, rolling right through it, rolling right through it.
The stuff comes out of his mouth.
It's like it was when Harvey Fialkoff, I used to give him something to eat for breakfast. We were out there doing the shows at the track, and next thing you know, you got like a piece of a bacon, egg and cheese croissant in your eyeball. and he would get very demonstrative, because he was very animated, Harvey Fialkoff. And when he was on the air, he was gesturing and doing everything, and the food literally would come flying out of his mouth. Mayo, I don't know that you need a bib with the guy, but that was real horseshit yesterday, wasn't it? I mean, it really was.
This is funny. That's to talk about
I felt bad for the people that were paying money to have that promotion. That this is what you're going to do. I mean, you couldn't save it for like after the show.
I was going to say, like, do your healthy other meals. I don't know.
Yeah,
you're
unbelievable.
Let's eat.
Stuff was good, man. I had a couple of those wings after Gilbert's, 17th Street, Cordova. In one of those big plazas there. What would that be? Would that be the South Side? Yeah, and great place. I mean, with a lot of variety. Chicken wings though were excellent.
Chicken fingers were good. Their burgers,
chicken fingers were top notch. Yeah, you're right. The Burger Beast was right.
Renowned. I mean, their salads were nice. I didn't touch it because Mayo had already jumped into it with his mouth.
No, he slimed everything. And then that business of smearing the whipped cream all over the key lime pie.
I understand why, but do that for your slice then.
Yeah. It's like licking the cream out of an Oreo cookie and then putting it back together and putting it on the plate and offering it to somebody. Oh, and you're thinking, maybe I don't like it that way, with your spit all over the thing. I don't even want to get into it. It's too demented for commentary. All right, we'll see you guys, later on. We have a little No Filter thing coming up, the morning briefing, nofilter.net. Yep. And then later on, we're going to attempt a license to steal. It's been butchered the last couple of times we tried it because we weren't able to get our guests on. And so it was mostly me going Ralph Cramden on the show, going, how many. Let me tell you about the time that we had the horse at the Pomona Fair. It's like, I've heard that story 1,000 times, Defo. Yeah, you picked up the phone and the guy said everything on the floor.
Yep.
And then you're thinking, where do I go from here? Well, let's look at some lines. Be like Anita Marks there on that, gambling show they have on ESPN. Let's look at some lines here. Louisville 3.5. I kind of like the Cardinals in this one. And you're thinking, why? Based on what? All of the logic in the world can't necessarily help you. Correct? I mean, think about that. And I thought that was the rule. There was wild speculation that there would have to be an extra point attempt in the Ohio State Notre Dame game. And I thought it didn't matter if there was no time left on the clock. That, as the professor said, it's optional on the part of the coach. And there would have been no reason since you had won the game and time was on. I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to try the guy out for an extra point?
No, I think what do you mean? We've seen college kickers miss them. Kids get blocked. If they return it, you now have a tie. Like there's literally nothing positive. They don't care about the spread.
Now I'm even more upset that I ended up with a push in that game. Yep. All right, we will see you guys later on today on a variety of platforms. So we'll have License to Steal. What time are you figuring on that one? 3:15, Lubie?
Yeah, 3:15.
3:15. Well, we'll get that together, and we'll see you then as we leave you on that.
The time.
It's 9:49.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.
Look what they've done to my soul.